Actually, you wouldn't serve this Python file to your backend developer because they need your chatbot in the form of API. So they hit a request to your chatbot and your API will able to send a response to your backend developer. For making this, we are going to use one Flask library. So Flask is a micro web framework written in Python. It is classified as a micro framework because it does not require any particular tools or library for execution. It has no database abstraction layer, form validation, or any pre-existing third party. So for making a Flask API, you just need to create one Python file for it named as Flask API.py, and in this Flask file first import your Flask library. So it's showing me an error because I didn't have Flask in my Conda environment. So first we have to install this and take a look of their source code as well. Just go to Flask website and click on source code. It will redirect to their GitHub repo. And for installing the Flask, you have to run this CLI command. And for making a simple Flask API, you can refer this document. First, you have to import your Flask, create a app instance, and specify your route and one function. Okay, now error is gone. Let's import one more library, which is request. So Flask chorus will responsible for remove the course error when you running your Python file. So it gives sometimes a course error. So this library will remove your error. First we have to install this library. That's it. Now make a Flask app instance. It takes one argument name and pass this app instance to the chorus. And configure some settings of Flask, which is app.config debug equal to true. Second one is app.config JSON sort keys and make it as false. So this setting will able to rerun your app again and again when you press a control S to your Python file. It doesn't stop your server, and this is very useful when you're returning some JSON response from one function of Flask API. Then uh, inbuilt Flask will sort their keys, but we didn't want to sort, so we set as false. Now make a app route, specify the endpoint. So in my case, I'm giving as chat and the methods. You can give any methods that you want to give, like get request, post request, put request, delete request. So in my case, I'm giving only two methods, which is get and post. Making a method which is named as RASA, and in this function we are going to write our logic. First say if the request dot method is equal to post, then only my API will send any response. So first we have to import this request library. Now our RASA needs two things. First one is your URL and second one is your data. Now data has two keys. First one is your sender ID and second one is your message. And these two things is given by the user. Okay, so we are accepting this from the front end and using in backend. For accepting it, we need to write ID request dot get JSON, because front end developer will sending these ID in the form of JSON, and specify the ID key. And for message it will be the same, request dot get data message. Now specify a URL. I'm just copying paste from here. So before feeding your data in RASA, you have to specify two keys. First one is your sender, which is your ID, sender ID, and second one is your message. And your result will be, now first check it out that my Flask API is working fine till now or not. Let's print running. And for making a request to my Flask API, I'm going to use a Postman. This is a third-party tool which gives you a freedom to make a request to your API without forming a web interface. Let's run our server. For running our server, you have to specify if name equal to main, then app.run.